Hey y'all, everyone is talking about the future of work, AI, automation, and disruption. But here's the truth. None of that matters without the people who are actually architecting it and the culture that it takes to sustain it. I'm here today with my friend and the culture architect herself, Tia Smith. Tia is a best-selling author, a trailblazing executive, making waves from Nashville to national stages, to include Times Square from what I hear here recently. As founder of Ignite Consulting, she is a VP at Momentum HCA. She transforms workplaces by turning company values into high-performing engines, proving that culture isn't just a backdrop. It is the engine and the main event. Tia, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Lee. So happy to be here.
I'm so glad you are here. I'm so glad you could hang out with us for a few minutes. So Tia, we focus on four things: who you are, what you do, what you believe, and how you work. So I want to jump right into it if that's okay.
Let's do it.
Who is Tia Smith?
25-year veteran in the HR space. Which is interesting. I didn't go to college to be in HR, which I feel like a lot of people don't. I went to college to be a serial killer profiler in the FBI. I double majored in psychology, sociology, minored in criminology. Came out of college right at the telecom boom and went into a telecom organization and started in their learning and development space, not even really understanding what L&D was at the time. But I had a knack for systems, and so I kind of picked up on that and enjoyed it and kind of progressed my way into various facets of HR along the way. And
wow,
here I am.
Okay, we have to go back. Profiler. Have you felt that maybe your profiling experience has helped you, from an HR, from a culture perspective? If so, I'm curious how.
Absolutely. Well, I think, what I'm so curious. I love understanding why people think the way they do, why do they act the way they do. And so for me, it's understanding the psychological aspects of that. So yes, my education has come in handy along the way for sure.
So Tia, I've heard some things about you. I heard you often say that culture isn't a backdrop, it's the engine of growth. What's a moment in your career that cemented that belief for you?
I've had the privilege of working in a lot of organizations that have fantastic culture. I've been really lucky throughout my career to do that. And I would say there was one instance several years back where engagement started to plateau, and we really didn't understand why that happened. But we were going through this period of hypergrowth at the time, and it just was a reminder to me that if you're not constantly paying attention to culture, it can start to fade. So it's not ever a backdrop. It has to be constantly in focus and intentional. What you're doing always has to be intentional when it comes to culture.
I think that's interesting. So, for me, I've seen some organizations who focus a lot on the profit, on stakeholder and shareholder value, but they forget about the people that actually help them achieve that value for their shareholders and their stakeholders, the people within the organization, and really, I think the culture that maybe even drives it. Mm-hmm. So you've built your career around being unapologetically people first. In an era where metrics and margins are dominating, how do you convince leaders that investing in culture isn't just the soft stuff, but is actual strategy?
Lee, where is the soapbox in this room? Okay. Culture is absolutely measurable, and there are absolutely hard metrics that go with that. I know executives always see culture as fluffy, right? You hear it all the time, especially when you're talking with CEOs, CFOs. They don't see the direct correlation between metrics and culture. So I feel like it's my job to educate them on that correlation and where those hard metrics come into play. So when you think about things, the obvious one is engagement and net promoter, employee promoter scores, things like that. But then you start to think about turnover and retention rates, and especially retention rates of your high performers. How bad does it hurt when somebody leaves the organization? Some people leave and you're happy.
It's okay.
About that.
We wish them the very best.
But other people leave and it really hurts, and that's going to leave a mark within the organization when they leave. Also thinking about things like internal mobility. You can track numbers like that. You can track promotion velocity. How fast are people able to grow within the organization? You can also look at things like productivity and revenue per employee. Those are metrics that every CFO is tracking. And that directly correlates to how deep your engagement is within the organization. You can look at absenteeism, well-being metrics. You can look at things like customer satisfaction and net promoter score.
Wow.
There is always let me say it this way. Your customer NPS and your customer metrics almost always mirror what your internal engagement and eNPS scores are looking like.
Really?
Yes. If you see a spike in employee engagement, you are probably going to also see a spike in how happy your customers are.
Because it's the trickle down.
Absolutely.
That's interesting. I worked for an organization some time back where they lost like a critical person in the organization, someone who had been, kind of the mama bear, if you will, of everyone, had brought in a lot of associate consultants, had raised a lot of these consultants in their career. And when she left, there was this immediate void that kind of cascaded. So looking back, I wondered if we looked at those numbers, if we would see the numbers telling that same story on the value that person had within the organization.
Absolutely. Leadership metrics are super important.
Wow. So trust is one of the most fragile currencies in leadership. We all know that it is one that can be lost very easily and very hard to gain. What's the hardest lesson you've learned about building, breaking, and repairing trust in organizations?
I think we've all worked in organizations where we've been through some kind of massive reorg or a layoff or some huge event. And I think the fastest way to break trust, for leaders to break trust, is for leaders to stay silent when those things happen, thinking that silence is going to just mean calm, like it'll be this little blip and then things will go away.
Oh, we're not going to wake up tomorrow and just forget this.
It backfires every time. Every time. Rumors are going to fill that vacuum, right? They're going to fill the void, and people are going to be very uncomfortable with what's coming. If you don't say what's happening, people are going to leave. Yeah, they're going to make assumptions, and they're going to think, am I next? So they're going to leave as well. And trust is just going to disintegrate within the organization. So I think the lesson here is that people can handle bad news. They can't handle hidden news.
Or news that comes with like a part two that we know you were sitting on.
Yes.
Like, why didn't you just get rid of the butter knife? Bring out the sharp knife from the very beginning.
And here's the thing. Employees don't expect perfection from their organization. Business shifts and moves all the time, and we know that the business has to run, and the business has to make decisions in order to be profitable and make money. So we know that there are going to be things that happen. All that people ask, all that employees want, is just some transparency and some honesty about what's going on.
When I was chatting with a friend of mine who shared a similar story, kind of framework of mine. So often we personify the business, but then we forget to personify the emotions that the business has to manage. So if we're saying the business feels this way, the business must grow and scale in order to meet the needs of stakeholders and shareholders, then we also have to say the business, like any other relationship that I am in or that we are in, has to be honest and transparent and be ethical and have good morality and stand up for what it believes or doesn't believe.
Absolutely.
Which is, I think, maybe just as important.
Yes.
You describe employee experience as more than a perk. It's an operating system. For leaders maybe listening today, what's one simple shift that they could make tomorrow, like hear it today, apply tomorrow, that would help them transform how their people experience work?
I think this is an easy fix. I think a leader can take their next status meeting that they're going to have and turn it into a listening session. Simply no agenda, no PowerPoint presentation, no transactional, what are you working on? Just open it up and listen to what employees have to say. What's on your mind? What kinds of things are they curious about, or do they have questions about? Make it a listening session where there's just open, honest dialogue and conversation.
I like that. I wonder if some leaders reject that because they may not actually like what they hear. But
Very possible, right? And I think that's where the vulnerability piece of being a leader comes in.
yeah,
So you may hear things you don't want to hear, but as a leader, it's then up to you to take that forward to the leadership team and talk about what you're hearing. You may and I think another thing that leaders get nervous about is I'm not going to be able to action what they're asking for. And that's okay. As a business, you can't turn around and say yes to every single thing that comes in. There has to be a logical business decision made about those things. But for an employee to at least feel heard in asking the question and being able to say, hey, for the leader to come back to say, hey, I brought this forward. Here was the discussion we had, and here's why we landed where we did. That's all they want to, I felt heard when I brought forth, whatever it was that I was curious about.
I love that. So from burnout to belonging, these are two sides of the modern workplace, if you will. How do leaders walk, that tightrope between asking for performance and protecting well-being?
This makes me think of competitive sports in a way. So I was a professional swimmer growing up.
Really?
And
I was a competitive underwater basket weaver. I'm joking.
I really feel like high performance is just like athletics in a sense, because you can push really hard, but then you have to also be able to pull back and rest, right? So there has to be this balance, because otherwise, if you're constantly full throttle, you're going to burn out the people that you rely on the most. So I think there's this balance between asking for intensity when you need it. We've all worked on projects where you're working the extra hours, you're drinking the extra coffee, you're staying up late. Yeah. But then that is balanced with the ebb and the flow of being able to rest for a while in between those times where it really ticks up. So to me, I think it's less about balance and more about cadence.
Mm-hmm. I love that. As you know, I'm military, so whenever we're doing ruck marches and those types of things, we have to keep a certain cadence, certain beats to hit our mile markers in a certain amount of time. So I love that. So high growth companies often struggle to scale, their culture at the same speed as their business. And I think that's probably even more indicative of large organizations, which I frequently refer to as yachts, and the small organizations as, jet skis, harder to pivot. Those yachts are harder to pivot. They can't move as they're not as nimble as some of those smaller ones. What's the biggest mistake you see leaders make when they're trying to operationalize values at scale?
I think the first thing to call out is that if culture feels like homework, then you're doing it wrong, right? So, and I think a lot of leaders think, well, we need to focus on scaling culture because, we have a lot going on within the business. So let's add another slide to the town hall deck and talk about the values.
Oh my gosh.
That's not operationalizing your values. Yeah. And, really what you're talking about, real scale, comes from operationalizing those values in things like how you recruit. Are you asking behavioral interview questions that reflect your value, your core values, and what you stand for as an organization? Do your values show up in your performance process? Do they show up in how you reward people, in how you promote people? Are you promoting them because they hit the high number, or are you promoting them because they are a team player and they are great at collaborating and bringing people forward and working well with others? And so I think those are the things that, when it comes to operationalizing, you need to make it just interwoven into all of your daily HR operations and processes.
I love that. I think sometimes we forget that it's not something you can just get from you can't just put it in your shopping cart. That additional slide is not adding, a bag of potatoes to your shopping list. It actually has to be who your organization is and who your people are.
Yes.
And maybe even who the people you recruit, to your point, who they become, who they want to be. Do they fit here? And
Absolutely.
do they not fit here? I think is also sometimes a question organizations miss and managers also miss as well.
Yes.
So if you had to finish this sentence, culture fails when, how would you end it?
When they treat it like a side project instead of the operational system of the business.
Y'all hear that? You cannot treat culture like a side chick. No. It has to be your main priority.
It does.
It has to be your main priority. Okay.
Yes.
In one line, what's the difference between a company people work at and a company people are proud to work for?
A company that you work at is a paycheck. A company you work for is purpose.
You know, I'd like to pull the string on that a little bit. A friend of mine, we were chatting, and I was going to write a LinkedIn post about this, and I still very well may, but she was chatting with her manager who, she started a new job a couple months ago. Her manager asked why she had not updated her LinkedIn profile. And, you know, just saying like, you should update this. Why aren't we reflected? We want to be reflected, X, Y, and Z. And I asked her that very same question. Do you work there? Or is this your job? Are you just there for the check? Are you doing this because you need to support and sustain your family and your livelihood? Or is it more of like you're proud of where you are? And her answer actually was, I haven't decided yet.
Wow.
And it's stuck with me, which is why I wanted to ask you, how do you see it from your lens as what I would call a culture architect, if you will?
Yeah.
So what's the biggest myth about workplace culture that you wish leaders would finally stop believing? What do they need to let go of?
Do I just have to pick one?
Let's go two for good measure.
First, which we've already touched on, that culture is the soft stuff. There are hard metrics that you can pull to show that culture, there's such a direct correlation. The second one would be that culture is HR's job. We are here to support. We are here to help orchestrate. But it takes, and initially I would say it takes every leader. Every leader has to own culture. Everyone in the organization has to own culture. It belongs to everyone. It's not just a leader's job. It's not just the CEO's job. It's not just HR's job. It's everyone's job.
Culture belongs to everyone. That deserves to be on a shirt. So y'all don't steal this, okay? Tia, put that as a trademark, okay? So give me a headline. What's the single most powerful thing a leader can do tomorrow to transform trust on their team?
I would say trust is built in the follow through. Keep your commitments. Do what you say you're going to do.
Even if it's difficult.
Even if it's difficult.
Even if you don't want to do it. That's actually what I think probably builds internal equity.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I like that answer. And the last one before we move to rapid fire.
Okay.
Boil it down for us. What's your culture North Star in 3 words or less?
Culture fuels growth.
I think people underestimate that. I think they think that if I have more procurement, if I buy more things, I'll grow faster. If I get more stuff, I'll grow faster. But not if I just actually tap into the internal equity I have within my existing team, that it could spawn more innovation and more creativity and more happiness around being here, or more, I don't know, value in actually coming to this place for 1/3 of my day,
Absolutely.
8 to 10 hours a day.
You're spot on.
Yeah, I love that. All right, so listen to you. We've not done this before. Okay, we've done rapid fire. We have not.
I've heard your rapid fire questions.
Okay, so she says she's not new to this. She's true to this. Okay, we have done rapid fire before, but we actually have very special cards, and we're just gonna pull one here out of the deck for rapid fire. So,
Okay.
All right, Tia, if you will, pull a card.
Ooh, I feel like there's going to be a magic trick. Do I look at it or do you look at it?
You know what? I'll take it.
Okay.
Here. What's your go-to comfort food?
It Depends on what I'm craving, probably. I would say, well, during this summer, it's been an ice cream sandwich.
Okay. All right. Cold Stone. or is there another local place you love?
No, just the little, like I keep them in the freezer, the little minis.
Oh, you have a stock.
Oh yeah.
At home.
You know.
Okay.
And
here
so,
we are.
you know, if I'm just feeling it, I'll just go and grab one out. Mm-hmm.
Noted. All right. Let's go again here.
Okay.
Sweet or savory snacks? I feel like I know the answer to this.
I think most of the time sweet.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say probably 90% of the time I need something sweet.
So I know this wasn't my rapid fire question, but I have a love affair with sweets. Okay. I probably should purchase stock in Starburst. I love Starburst. As a kid, my mom would be ashamed that I'm telling this story, but I would have so many Starbursts that I would fall asleep with the little wrappers like around my pillow. It would be stuck to my
favorite flavor Starburst.
Oh, the pink.
Oh, orange.
The pink. So Citrix. Me and Citrix don't do well together, but the pink is fantastic. So I'm gonna pick one out this time. I feel like
love it.
I could get lucky here. Dogs or cats?
Absolutely dogs. I have done animal rescue for a long time, mostly dogs. I have 2 rescue pups at home, and yeah, they have my heart. They're just like my kids.
Okay, so I'm also dogs. I'm deathly allergic to cats, so there's
cats
that.
Cats are just sneaky.
They
you're very nice to the cat. You pet the cat, and it comes back like 5 hours later, and just like
it does something.
Yes, and you're like, what?
Yeah, it reminds me of an employee. No, I'm joking. All right, so last one here. If your life was a book, what would the title be?
Igniting excellence.
I love that.
Because that's always what I'm trying to do in myself, in my kids, in other people.
Wait, you have kids?
I do. I have 2 grown, can I say grown kids now? They're 19 and 20, so they're both
definitely
in college.
Grown.
Yes.
Yeah, they're an adults.
Yes, yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I feel like I've done the mama stuff and put them in a good place to kind of take off. You know, we're at that empty nest, quasi-empty nest kind of space now.
They come home on the weekends and eat out of your fridge, but not stay here for too long.
Yeah, yeah.
Have they become your friends yet?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've loved that evolution over the last probably year or so. You know, I'm not just the enforcer of the rules and the bad mom, but there's definitely this friendship evolving, and I love it so much.
Yeah, I remember when I first called my mom to tell her something that was like not like, I don't need career advice, I don't need military advice, I don't need life advice. It was just like, girl, let me tell you something real quick. And I think that moment has really, stuck with her, but also like looking back, stuck with me. So that's cool.
Love it.
Tia, we're at the end of our segment.
This has been so fun. Thank you.
Any last minute things you'd like to share with the world, like about who you are, what you do, how you're conquering the world?
Oh my goodness. Well, I heard you mention at the top of the podcast.
I was going to end with that. Yeah, go ahead, please.
I heard you mention Times Square. So it was a bucket list item that I didn't know that I had. I was asked about a year ago to be part of an anthology. So a publisher reached out. She was looking for 10 women who wanted to share their leadership journey and each write a chapter. So we did that. The book came together. It was beautiful. We became an Amazon bestseller. And we just recently...
Love this. What's the name of the book?
Ask me again. Oh my God, I totally went there.
So Tia, what is the name of this book?
Limitless Leadership.
Limitless Leadership on Amazon, anywhere where you can buy books. Y'all go out there and get the book.
Yes. It was one, and it was so great to come together. So the publisher pulled us all together, and she said, let's go to New York City. I have space on the NASDAQ screen in Times Square.
What?
So our picture was up on the big board.
Oh my gosh.
One at a time. So it was very chaotic. It was about a 10-minute, she rented it for 10 minutes.
Wow.
And it was smile, say cheese, next. And then we would just like kind of siphon
Rotate.
through all of us. But it was a really great experience. It was so phenomenal to meet these other women who also told their stories. And it's a moment I probably will never forget. It was fantastic.
And you have 2 daughters, right?
I do.
What a cool thing for them.
Yes.
Was anyone
Yes.
able to join you on this?
My younger daughter had just started her sophomore year at University of Tennessee, so she was not able. She was in her first week of class. My older daughter was able to come with me, and kind of a sweet moment. The morning of the event, we were in the room, and I asked her to fix my hair for me and get me ready. And she was fixing my hair, and she said, "Mom, I can remember when I used to ask you to fix my hair, like for the first day of school, and here I am fixing your hair for this big event in your life." And it was such a moment for us.
I could cry. Can you fix my hair? Can she fix my hair?
We'll see what she can do.
Yeah, I'm sure she can work something out. Oh my gosh. So listen, y'all. Tia, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Go out and check out Limitless Leadership on Amazon and everywhere where you can buy books, and all of the other 6 or 8 or 10 ebooks and full author books that Tia has as well. In the words of Tabitha Brown, you all know this is my favorite. I hope you have the most amazing day. But even if you can't, don't you dare go messing up nobody else's. See y'all. All right.
That was amazing.
We made it. It was good.
Thank you.